Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. We're up to part 3 of this week's episode of the show. We're diving even deeper into our conversation with this week's guest. Let's continue exploring their inspiring journey. If you've missed part 1 and 2, definitely go back and catch up. Also, if you're not subscribing, please subscribe. Enjoy the rest of the show. See you soon.
So with that time in mind and where you feel like nobody's seeing your content, what's that time period you think where it went from, I suppose, nothing, you just grinding, you're doing it, and then something pops? What's that time frame for you?
I really don't. It wasn't like an overnight thing of like,
No.
It was like 0 to someone, it was just kind of like the consistency of people instead of just being like, even when I just stream on Twitch, people were like, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing regular people now. Like I'm seeing these names pop in that are like actually watching my stuff. And I know on the other side of things, when I'm doing that to a streamer or when I'm watching someone on YouTube, like that consistency, and it's like they become a part of your world. Like I've watched so many different things, or just a TV show or whatever. They become a part of, that's like, oh, that's a Wednesday night, I watched this show. Like, I don't know, there's just something about that that's really humbling, I guess, in a sense. And it's just more people see you, and then you're able to kind of post stuff online and people like talk about your work, and it's like, whoa, I don't know. I kind of got into that world of like doing stuff on Twitch, but then also like video editing and stuff like that for other people, and then that kind of opens up more doors for you and stuff like that. And I think for me though, what really was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the first time I actually got paid to do what I love. I don't get it consistently or anything like that. As content workers know, you do a lot of things for free all the time just to get exposure. But the first time I actually got like a small amount of money for doing something, I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. I'm just doing what I love. Like that would be a dream. That's the dream of mine, is to be able to work in the content world full time. People call me crazy for that, but people also call me crazy for wanting to interview WWE talent, and I did that too. So I'm like, well, who knows?
Was this one someone famous as well? That is a different person.
So that's a different person. So that's Nia Jax. She's another big time talent. She's actually cousins with The Rock. Everyone knows The Rock.
No.
So that's one of his cousins that wrestles.
Look at your eyes.
I know she was actually the nicest, because I'm like, well, I watch these people on television, so like I'm like shaking it, like my ass is falling out of me at this stage, like, oh my god. Because like she was like the second person, because they basically, how they set this up so I can kind of set up how it visually is like they have like a partition in the middle, and they just kind of send you in this room. I mean, Optus Stadium in Perth, so you go right up to the tippy top, and then they send you in this room. They say, okay, find a spot. And everyone just kind of finds a spot with their camera and their microphone, and then the talent just kind of walks around. So they just kind of, and they're like, they have like PR people that just kind of take them and go, okay, line up over here, go over here, go over here. So I'm watching all these people interview, and then I'm like, oh my god, they're approaching me like, oh, like how do I speak? And then you've got a limited amount of time to kind of ask a question that they haven't been asked 60 times before you. So you're just kind of like, oh my god. And you're also watching, how I mentioned, all those people that I kind of that are like role models in a sense of the field I want to work in. I'm watching them do their thing, and I'm like, oh my god, like why, like they're doing this and now I've got to do this. And I know they're watching me in a sense too, like the people near me like are watching me. Like it was just, it was a crazy day. Like, and I was sunburnt to buggery too, because it was like 40 degrees in Perth and I didn't wear any sunscreen, and we sat outside for like 2 hours before we got let up in there, and I had like the worst glasses tan of my life. I was like, oh my god, I look like a tomato, because I was just ripe. But it was crazy, that of course. And I sent a picture to my sister, and my dumb little sister, she was like, you are so red. And I'm like, thank you for that. No, don't comment on the fact that I'm standing with this person. Please comment on the fact of how red I look. That's really awesome to know. So yeah, it was lovely though. It was honestly like a mind-blowing experience. I hated Perth. That was the first time I've ever been to Perth in my life. I hated it. Sorry anyone that's listening that's from Perth, but wow, what a horrible city. And I live in Adelaide, so you can imagine it must be pretty bad.
Hate mail to leadingourownway.com, please.
No,
I don't want
send
hate
it to me. You can, all the Perth people can come fight me. I'll fight you about it. But yeah, so it was just a crazy experience. I just remember getting back to the hotel and just kind of like sitting down and having to edit all that footage too, but just kind of like sitting there and like breathing. It felt like I didn't breathe for about 6 hours when I was going through that day. Just breathing and being like, whoa, that happened. That's kind of neat. Ryan was actually there. He was there. On the opposite side of me, he was with his friend. And I just kept looking back in between times of interviewing, of like looking through the little partition, being like, what the fuck is going on? And he'd be like, what? And I'm like, I know, this is crazy. So that was just, I don't know. I just take everything, I don't know. I try to not take things too seriously. I understand the position I was in, but like, I tried to have so much fun with that and just tried to really soak that in. I didn't want to get, you know, when you have experiences of stuff where you go hammer and tong so hard, you're like, oh my God, this is so much fun. And then you actually don't even take in the time to be like, I can't remember any of this because I was just like too busy and too focused on like, I actually just remember looking out because where we were looking, where I was standing, it was just like a beautiful, Perth looked really pretty. It was all water and beautiful and over the bridge and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to just take a minute to kind of like take this all in and be like, I'm going to remember this spot at least. And I did. And I still remember it very vividly and I'd love to do it again. And I'm striving to do more stuff like that. They don't come here that often to Australia, but when they do, at least I'm in the PR list of like people they'll contact if they want interviews done. So, I mean, it's cool for me.
And yeah, what a great position to be into, you know, to get that for sure. You've obviously put yourself in the right position to be in that position, and you've taken the right steps. You've got, you've mentioned wrestling as part of your interviews. You've got a line of basketball jerseys beside you. Do you take your interviewing anywhere else in any sporting world? Because obviously that's a field that you're very much interested in as well.
I want to do more. I've done a little bit, which I can't go into too much detail of because it's coming. But I've done a little bit with the Adelaide Crows. I love AFL. I love my footy. I love basketball. Obviously, I'd love to, you know, I would love to get into the sports world, of just being that person that is kind of known for sports interviews. I'd like to interview anyone, to be completely honest. I just like having conversations with cool people. And I've always kind of been, I always try to say this in the non-cockiest way, but like I've always felt like I've been in my zone when I'm talking to people because it's just something I'm always been good at. I've never had a problem talking. So I've kind of always been in that sense. So yeah, sports world is something I'd like to get into. Like, what a dream job of like working on like one of those big networks and just being a host of something or something like that. That's kind of always where I've been, I think, most comfortable. But yeah, I'd love to. I love basketball. I love my footy. So I'd like to do more stuff like that. But yeah, the stuff with the Adelaide Crows, ... I'll leave it at that.
Ellipsis, we'll keep it to be continued. And if you, when, not manifestation, train the brain, neuroplasticity and all that, train the brain to when, not if, when you're going to be in the big studio. We'll get you back on Leading Our Own Way when, and then you can help promote my podcast.
Yeah. And I'll charge you. I won't worry. Friends discount.
Oh, thanks. So I still get charged. What the hell?
50%
I'll remember
off.
that, Josh. I'll remember that.
I'll be like, who's this guy? I don't know.
I was going to get you Wazagiddy. I won't now.
Oh, well. Oh, well. Win some, you lose some.
Nah, I'm joking. That's hilarious. So well, that's great then. So with the, you have another passion though, that you and Ryan have a connection with as well. You got, and I see it quite a lot on social media. You bring it up quite a lot, and I enjoy how you make it fun. I mean, that just attracts me within itself. Do you get good responses? I mean, you should probably share what that is first, but then lead on to, do you get good responses from your feedback from that? Do they want you to continue to do it in that way? Yeah, elaborate on that for a little bit.
Yeah, so I got, so Ryan obviously talked about his stuff with the man shake. Weirdly enough, it wasn't through Ryan that I actually got involved with the man shake. It was through someone else within that company. And then I was like, wait a minute, Ryan works for the man shake. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, we kind of had a conversation. And he was like, wow, that's wild. It's such a small world of like, what the hell, we're meeting up again like this. But yeah, so I've had brand deals in the past with different kind of things, and take this for what you will, but I've never been one that's very good with when I'm being told how I should operate or how I should when someone tries to take control of what I'm putting out. I don't mind guidelines, but I like to do things kind of my own way. And if you don't like that, then I don't really want to work with you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same.
Yeah, like not in a. I don't mean it in like a my way or the highway. Like I'll compromise, but like I put a certain kind of vibe that I like to put out, especially on my TikTok and my Instagram, because I'm just kind of having fun. Like I just make dumb crap.
You do, yeah, it's awesome.
So
not dumb crap. I mean, it's fun.
no, I think it's dumb crap, but I mean it in the best way possible, because it's just like I just get an idea in my brain. I'm like, that'll be funny. Even if I'm just making myself laugh, I just kind of do that. So I've always kind of wanted to. I've never want a brand or a company to be like, you're working with us, so you can't post this stuff, or you can't. And I'm like, well, it's not worth it. So I work with the Manshake. They let me kind of do my thing. They're happy with me. I've never really had any complaints. We have a good working relationship, I guess you could say. And I mean, apart from content world of it, I've tried it before and I didn't really stick to it, but now I'm sticking to it, and I'm not really one to weigh myself because I get a little bit lost in numbers with things, but I've dropped a shirt size. Like I feel a lot better on the actual Manshake itself. So that's good. And it's kind of led, I think that has kind of led to some other stuff. I do some work with a company called Rugged. They're like a clay mask that work with skin. The guy that owns it reached out to me and was like, hey, I seen your work for the Manshake and I've kind of followed you on Twitch for a little while. Want to do some stuff with us? And I was like, sure, let's do that. So, and we have a good little relationship and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just kind of like reaching out and just doing stuff. I've never been one that's really afraid, either if companies want to reach out to me or I want to reach out to companies. I've always kind of been like a person that's like, well, what's the worst they can do? Ignore me, say no, I don't care, just try.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I've always been kind of like that. So yeah, it's kind of cool to, I guess, in a sense, because I guess when I started my TikTok in 2020, I think I started it, and I had like 5 followers, and I'm like, oh, isn't that cool? Look at all these influencers on here with their brand deals, and it's like, well, now I'm that person. I don't like saying that.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, and you got to be proud of saying it. And you said this in the pre-chat, but you put yourself down, and you got to embrace it. You are one of those people now, and I
don't know. The word influencer is so like, I think some people take that negatively because it can be very negative because that world is rocky, I guess you could say.
Sure.
I wish there was a better word to describe myself than an influencer, because I don't really consider myself an influencer, but like,
well, it's more, I suppose, the branded stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, online personality. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because sometimes you just take that word and you're just like, ugh, whoa. But it's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I have a good time.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, putting myself out there.
No, and you're doing it right now, and you're doing it really well. With the Manshake, though, so for anyone who hasn't listened to Ryan's episode, can you briefly explain what is the Manshake?
Yeah, so it's a weight loss replacement shake. They do other stuff as well. They do like little bars and a bunch of other stuff with the Manshake, but I mainly do their shakes just because I've always been one that's struggled a little bit with my weight. I fluctuated a lot throughout my life, and this just kind of keeps me on the right path. I'm not saying I'm perfect, because there's some days where I'm like, I'm gonna have pancakes today, and that's that. But like, it just keeps me feeling good. It keeps me at a nice, consistent, happy with myself kind of, I don't know. I can look, when you look in the mirror and you're just like, I'm cool with this. Like, yeah. I'm cool with this. I don't know if everyone, but I'm okay with this. So that's how I've kind of, it's helped me a lot. I've been, how long have I been doing it? Since July, so however long that is. But yeah, so dropped a shirt size and a half and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, this is nice. But yeah, so I'm just like, it keeps me feeling good too. It takes away a lot of my like brain fog and stuff like that, because I've had times where I've ate amazingly. I think my relationship with food has been very rocky. I've had times where I'm like great, and then other times where I'm like horrible. But it does really, I know some people are going to be like, well, obviously, but it does really change your mind a lot, the way you eat. Like, it will, even just like the littlest thing of like the next day is like, oh, I kind of feel like dirt today, or like just being in a funk or anything like that. Like, it does change a lot. It's weird.
I completely agree. My relationship with food was always poor. Anyone who is watching this from a friend of mine since I was young would in England would have microchips and micro nuggets, and I'd put them in the microwave before going to bed and eat them in bed. And you're not educated at that point, right? You don't realize the impact that it has on your body, not even mentally, just even at a cellular level, that deep cell shit, right? And now it took me a crisis point of almost dying to change my life in regards to especially food. I got rid of sugar. Do I have sugar occasionally? Yeah, on a Friday night I'll have a movie night and we'll have some chocolate. Do I have a McDonald's for a treat occasionally? Yeah, I do. I'm not going to lie, but I definitely got rid of that for a very long time to like replenish the system and just start over again. And what you've just said there, though, you're so right. I now look at it as alcohol. I know my hangover the next day. I'm either brain fogged or I'm aching, and I can feel the inflammation in my lower back, and I know those those signs that I once gone, you know what? That's just age, and I'm getting old. No. Age. You should not be aching, even at 60. You shouldn't be aching. You can prevent that from happening. And I think if I hadn't have done it, does my body still ache occasionally? Yeah, it does. I'm going through it right now. I have ankylosing spondylitis in my lower back. And the doctor, for 9 years, I couldn't figure out, didn't sleep, probably messed up my circadian rhythm forever. But the doctor said, you've got it forever. It's an autoimmune issue. It's essentially it's inflammation, and there's no cure to it. You can manage it, but you can't cure it. Anyway, I was on anti-inflammatories, and I knew I shouldn't be taking these for a very long time because that's going to damage my insides. That could have contributed to the gallbladder failure, but they said the level of destruction of the gallbladder and the sepsis that had set in, there's no way those tablets would have done that much damage in that short of time. Anyway, that's what changed my life, and I got rid of all meds, and I got rid of shitty food. I lost 9 kilos in 3 weeks. It wasn't through exercise because I had torn meniscus in my knees. And but that was just a byproduct. I wasn't doing it to lose weight. I was doing it for mental clarity. And I became the clearest I'd ever been. And my inflammation was reversed. Have I cured it? Clearly not, because it's back currently. I'm going through that ups and downs. And leading our own way is about being open, honest, and vulnerable. And my vulnerability right now is my back pain's back. I reversed it for a very long time. I got rid of milk and went on to almond milk, even though almond milk's still not great for you, but it's better than And I feel like I'm going through that experimental stage again to get back to how I was, and it's easing. But yeah, I've elaborated there probably a bit too much, but it was touched on what you said about the feeling the next day, and I suppose it's just about identifying that. I've mentioned on episodes before where a lot of things that I do in the morning routine in terms of exercise, cold exposure and stuff like that, apart from the food, is there anything else that you do to prepare yourself mentally or whatever, apart from the shake and stuff like that? What else do you do to look after yourself?
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.